Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I wanted to talk about Galarian Corsola, which was recently added into Pokemon Go. This Pokemon is very bulky, very strong. It's a mono ghost type, unlike the water and rock typing of the regular Corsola. And the thing that makes this Pokemon such a problem is how hard it is going to be to get a good one. As you can see here, it's going to be released. It's actually already released now. I already have hatched a couple of them, but they are only available in 7-kilometer eggs, and that is never a good thing. Egg-locked Pokemon, in my opinion, always kind of suck to try to get, but especially 7-kilometer exclusives, you can only get those by opening gifts from your friends, so you have a limited number of eggs that you can get per day, and even then, I've hatched 30 eggs today, I've only got 3 Corsolas, so the rates are not very high, it's a very low rate to get, and if you want PvP IVs, the zero attack that you normally want to see, it is going to be really hard to get because you have to trade with friends for them. So not only do you have to hatch them, you have to try to find people that also have them to try to get a good rank 1. But it's just even harder when you notice that you also need the XL candies, right? It needs to be level 50 to max this thing all the way out. How are you going to get those Corsola XLs if you don't live in a Corsola biome? It's going to be by walking Corsola, by trying to hatch these eggs, potentially putting in rare XL candy as well. It's going to be a big grind. I'm not very happy about it because of how strong it is. We'll take a look at everything that it can do here. Its moveset, its stats in just a second here. But yeah, I just wanted to hammer home this Pokemon is a big problem. It's kind of like when they introduced Carbink, right? An XL Pokemon that is very bulky, very strong, but unlike when Carbink was released, this meta is actually very strong for Corsola. The only things that really beat it are the normal and dark type picks that you're going to see. A lot of neutral matchups are very strong for Corsola just with the moveset they gave it, and it is going to be kind of hard to overcome an instant top meta Pokemon. I think it's actually ranked number 3 right now in the Great League meta on pvpoke.com, so if that doesn't say just how strong it's going to be, I don't know what will. But let's take a look at exactly what Corsola can do and why I think having a Pokemon like this being so inaccessible is a bit of a problem. So yeah, over here on PvPoke, we can see at rank number 3 here is Galarian Corsola. This Pokemon does take XL candies to upgrade, and it is a very bulky Pokemon. You can see its attack stat below 100. That is kind of crazy. If you have like an Egg IV one, it's kind of like a Dugong level bulk, but if you have a high rank one, it's getting closer to like Jumpluff level bulk if you know what that's like. So that's kind of a good benchmark to think about. It's also a very strong moveset here. We can see its fast attack of Astonish. You could potentially run Tackle, but there's no reason to ever run that when you have Astonish. Then obviously you also have Nightshade, Power Gem, and even Rock Blast if you want a cheaper move. I don't think you'd want to run Rock Blast over Power Gem just because of how much more damage you do with Power Gem. But Rock Blast technically is its cheapest move, I guess. So if you wanted to run a cheaper move than Nightshade, you could run it. If you would have told me Astonish, Nightshade, and Power Gem would be its best possible moveset and it would actually be very strong a couple of months ago, I would have laughed at you. But I mean, this current season, right, all 3 of these moves got buffed. This is the best possible moveset, honestly, they could have given it. Power Gem coverage is fantastic to hit against the dark and normal type Pokemon, especially Galarian Moltres would not want to take a Power Gem at all. And Nightshade, a very strong move, basically a Drill Run clone, a Ghost type move, and also Astonish, one of the best fast moves that we have in the game. A lot of damage, a lot of energy generation, and on a very bulky Pokemon like Corsola, it's going to be kind of hard to take down. Its typing as well, just Mono Ghost, is extremely powerful. Only takes super effective from Dark and Ghost type damage, which are kind of common, but if you're fighting Ghost types, you're going to be doing super effective damage back to them. And if you're fighting Dark types, I mean, it's not a great matchup. Obviously, everything does have its weaknesses, but you can still have play with that Astonish with how strong it is, and even Power Gem will hit them for a lot of damage. So if we head over here to the Battle tab, and we want to see exactly what does Corsola beat, what does it lose to, I'm going to do a couple Corsolas here. One is going to just be like a default IV here, which is a 5, 15, 14. One I'm going to do as like an egg IV here. Let's do like 12, 15, 15 or something like that. And then let's do the rank 1 as well, so we can get a nice idea of what stat spreads we really want to see on this thing. We can have the 0, 15, 15. That is actually the rank 1. At full level 50, you need 296 XL candies. So get working, get walking those Corsolas. Try to get the XLs if you can. It's going to be very helpful. Probably, I guess we'll see if the rank 1 actually is the one to go for here. But yeah, let's see what happens in the one shield matchup. You can see that the higher rank 1 here obviously is going to have the most wins. The Egg IV one, 12, 15, 15, actually has quite a few losses here that you don't have with the other two. It's going to be a 24 win and 11 losses for this Galarian Corsola, the rank 1, 23 and 12 for a decent one, and then 19 and 16, which is honestly a lot more reasonable for the Egg IV Corsola that we see here. We can see the Dugong that we end up losing to Drifblim, but they're also like still pretty close matchups, so I'm not that worried about this. Even if you can't get a great one, it's still going to be a decent one to try out. And Marowak obviously is apparently a win here for the high rank that you end up losing to with the other two. Any breakpoints that you get, I guess, wow, there's actually a lot of breakpoints for the higher attack one here. Azumarill, Clodsire, Dugong. I mean, breakpoints aren't as important for a 3-turn move like you see here, because obviously it's only 1 extra damage every second and a half. whereas a breakpoint on a one-turn move would be 1 extra damage every half second, so still useful sometimes, but not as useful as it could be otherwise. And then bulk points, what do we see here? Actually going to see a Talonflame bulk point that the high rank, or that the low rank one rather, does not get, but then the very high rank one here gets Greninja, Drifblim, Guzzlord, and that Shadow Marowak, which is why we do end up beating the Alola Marowak, that is. But yeah, not anything too crazy, but it does look like a few things that you want to shoot for. I mean, Greninja and Guzzlord, those are two things that you're probably going to lose to anyway, but that Drifblim, the two ghost types, with also that Alola Marowak, probably good to get bulk points against them. So a high rank one, the high rank you can get is probably just going to be better. So that was the one shield matchup. Let's take a look at the zeros here, see how it is if you don't invest any shields into it. And they're all very even, 20 and 14, 19 and 16, 20 and 15. So very, very even stuff. We see a Guzzlord. Wait, what the heck? You beat Guzzlord? Okay, I did not realize you could beat Guzzlord with Galarian Corsola. That is ridiculous. That is the power of Power Gem and Astonish as being very broken moves. I don't know how to feel about that. I guess, okay, this one's actually running Dragon Claw. That's probably why. If you're running Brutal Swing, you probably do end up losing to it. But it's kind of crazy that you can ever even have a chance against that thing. That is a little bit crazy. The bad one here does also end up losing Clodsire in the zeros. And the really high rank one here does end up beating the Shadow Kanto Marowak, which is a pretty common matchup you're going to see. And you do end up actually losing to Clodsire here. I wonder what that's all about. I guess the average one here actually ends up beating Clodsire, whereas the other two don't. That's just, I guess, a 1 HP win, which is kind of funny. But very close matchup in the zeros either way. And let's take a look at the 2-shield matchup, see how it is if you invest a lot of shields into this Pokemon. It's actually probably the worst scenario that we've been seeing. The average one is 16 and 19, the Egg IV one is 17 and 18, and then the high rank one is 19 and 6. So the only one with a positive win rate is going to be that high rank Corsola in the 2-shield matchup, but it's still a very strong Pokemon, a lot of wins, and you do end up beating out Primeape. You end up beating out the Shadow Marowak. Once again, this is the Cantonian, the one, the Mudslapper, and then Clodsire as well. Is a win, I guess, for some reason for both the high rank and the low rank, but the middle one somehow ends up losing out on it. This is such a weird matchup. I don't even know at this point. I think that the breakpoint really helps out for the Egg IV one, and then obviously having the bulk makes it a little bit more helpful for the high rank one. You probably just don't have the combination of bulk or attack on the mid rank one that makes it so you lose out on Clodsire in the 2-shield matchup here. So that's kind of funny. But overall, very strong Pokemon, right? This is going to be instantly meta. I would expect to see this a lot in Play Pokemon tournaments. In the Go Battle League, it might be a little bit less common, just at least at the start with how hard it is to get. But if you're not prepared for this Pokemon, it's going to be a neutral powerhouse. If you don't have a normal type or a dark type on your team, I don't really know how you're going to slow this thing down. Astonish and Nightshade is a very quick combination of moves. It takes 5 to get to the first Nightshade, 4 Astonishes to the next one, and then straight 5s for that Power Gem. So, I mean, it's not the quickest Pokemon, but with the amount of damage it has and the amount of bulk that it has, it's going to be very hard to take down without the proper counters. So make sure you're hatching your 7-kilometer eggs, getting as many as you can, because I don't know how often we're going to be able to get these later on after this event ends. It's a very strong Pokemon. Bulky ghost types always are a good thing. We don't actually have that many in the Great League right now, so it's going to be kind of fun to try it out, see how it's going to play, but it's going to be such a hard Pokemon to get. So make sure you're hatching those eggs, getting those 7 kilometers, and honestly, I wish that they didn't do this again, right? The XL Pokemon that are kind of inaccessible, that you can only get from eggs that aren't in the wild at all. And I guess some people even have an advantage, right? The people who live in Corsola regions, they're going to be able to get the Corsolas in the wild. I obviously do not live anywhere near where Corsola spawns, so I don't have enough XLs to get a rank 1 maxed out. But I'm going to try to walk mine to get all the XLs from hatching and from walking my buddy. But it's going to be a lot harder for those of us who aren't in those regions. This Pokemon is kind of a nightmare. I wish they wouldn't have released it like this, but you know, we're here now. It's already out. You got to adjust to it and try your very best to get them, because it's going to be good. It's going to be a very good Pokemon, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. The moveset update did absolutely nothing to any of its moves, so even though it's going to be a good Pokemon in the next season, maybe there's going to be some Pokemon that can rise up to counter it. Diggersby probably being one of the hardest answers, Dunsparce being a decent answer to it, just resisting the Ghost-type damage, and then Shadow Drapion, Moltres, of course, having a lot of super effective Dark-type damage against it too, likely will be the best checks to it in the meta. Alright, well, thank you for watching. I'm going to upload a lot more videos to the channel, both gameplay videos and analysis videos like this, so if you want to see more videos on the channel, make sure to subscribe. Thanks again for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.